We're going to move on swiftly. But
I'll have a look on YouTube.
Yeah. All right, Philip. Thank you very much indeed.
Thanks for ringing, Phil.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed. We got a question here from somebody called Alfred. Are we going to see a collaboration between Rhydian and Susan Boyle in the future? Says Alfred.
Why are you laughing?
I don't know. I'm still laughing at the last call. Actually, not laughing at you.
In fact, actually, it'd be great to sing with Susan. I was supposed to sing on her special last Christmas.
Okay.
And it was funny because I was in the TV Times singing with Susan.
Oh, no.
But right at the last moment, I think Susan's management didn't like the idea of having another psycho Simon Cowell act being promoted on one of these shows. So I was taken off. Fair enough.
You've got to roll with that, haven't you, somehow, and accept it.
Well, that's the only, I guess, the downside about being attached to some TV producers see it as a kind of, the psycho bubble and that machine that promotes their artists. But I don't think we were doing it because of that. I think it's because the style of music was very similar, and she apparently really likes me, and I think she's not like that, but musically, I think we sing similar style.
Okay,
but yeah, it would be great to sing a duet with Susan.
Rhydian, did you go to Sunday school as a kid? Did your parents sort of send you off there?
Yeah, it wouldn't send me off. I mean, I used to enjoy going to Sunday school.
Did you?
Yeah, loads of friends at Sunday school. We went to Brecon, my hometown in Wales.
Okay.
Mum encouraged it, and so I was never against Christianity. I wouldn't say I was a Christian until I was 19, but I used to go to Sunday school. I knew Mum was a devout Christian, so I never took the mickey out of it, so to speak. But then when I became a Christian, remember it vividly. It wasn't such a mystery in that I didn't think, this is weird. Is this? I knew that it was kind of on the same wavelength for what my mum had been such a good witness over.
Right. Yeah.
So
and Rhydian, has it stood you in good stead to have a faith in the business you're in, or does it make things more difficult at times?
Oh, I would say it makes it easier.
Really?
Yeah. I think the life of a singer performer can potentially be quite a lonely one. Not when you're on stage so much, but when you're in a downtime, when you're at home.
Yeah.
But I very rarely feel lonely. I'm not in a relationship at the moment, but I never feel I'm alone.
Right.
And I guess you can make use of your. I say loneliness loosely, but my loneliness, I can spend more time with the Father.
Right. Yeah. You're at ease with yourself, and You've got this part in the new War of the Worlds coming up in November, and no doubt we'll be covering that a little more nearer the time. But how did you get the new role? Did you just hear about it in an audition? I mean, how does it happen?
I was pretty fortunate with this one because Jeff Wayne, who wrote War of the Worlds, the score to War of the Worlds, he watched X Factor the year I was in it, and he wanted me to go in and play the role of Pastor Nathaniel, that was originally played by Phil Lynott from Thin Lizzy, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
And he got in touch with my management, and I love the idea because it's a musical that's different from your standard West End show. It's set in arenas. It needs that big stage. Okay. It's got huge scenery and props, and so I've always wanted to perform in arenas because nothing beats that.
You got the big voice for it.
Well, yeah. I think music theatre though isn't just about big voices, and that's one of the reasons I went out of opera. Because I felt there was so much pressure to produce a bigger sound. But music theatre is more about acting through song, I would say. Yeah, I mean, my role, there's quite a few belty high notes in it, and so the big voice helps.
Right.
But I just, the feeling you get from the audience, when you're playing the O2, which we will be doing in December with War of the Worlds, 20,000 people.
Fantastic. Wow,
it's incredible.
Yeah, the feeling will be there. You put a lot of passion and emotion into your performances on the X Factor. You got a chance to do that playing Pastor Nathaniel.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I'm playing a role, Pastor Nathaniel. My scene really is basically War of the World. There's an invasion from space by a Martian attack, and I'm the person who loses his faith during this scene. He thinks this attack is a result of all man's sin. And I lose my faith and go over to the dark side. So it's quite a challenging role, especially as a Christian.
Yeah, well, indeed. Yeah, that distinctive music by Jeff Wayne from War of the Worlds, and my guest Rhydian is here with me in the studio. He's going to be taking part in that in November at the O2. Are you already started rehearsals, Rhydian?
Well, I start the show in November, but actually I believe we're in Holland in the whole of November.
Oh, okay.
And then in the UK in December, and so we will be at the O2, Wembley, the MEN, Birmingham, NIA, and so on and so forth. All the big arenas around every big city, but that's in December.
Right.
Rehearsal-wise, I'm kind of getting familiar with the part, but rehearsals, in fact, start in November.
Oh, do they?
Yeah,
right.
but we were doing a lot of promotion for the show because it gets sold out so quick.
Is there a lot to remember? Apart from the songs, I mean, your acting part, and you were saying about how you studied acting. And
yeah, which definitely helps. I haven't worked with a director yet on the show. I'm looking forward to that. I've heard he's fantastic. I guess there's the most complicated thing about the part, because it's not that long, and it's a combination of scenes really,
right,
and lasting about 15 to 20 minutes. So not long at all, so not that much to learn. But the tricky thing is, I have to interact with a hologram, an 11-foot hologram of Richard Burton.
Oh, right, now I heard about this. Yeah, okay.
You see, and he's on click track.
What's it with these Welsh people, eh?
Well, I don't know. But fantastic, isn't it? Who would have thought, 26 years after his death, that I'd be interacting with him?
How very strange.
And it's pretty lifelike, and it floats across the stage. And so he's speaking. Now, if I'm too late or too early, I'll cut across him.
Oh, whoops.
There's no way you can stop Richard Burton.
No.
So, that's the most tricky thing. But that's just that's rehearsals and kind of muscle memory, and it'll be fine.
Somebody's phoned in and said, before the ad break, you said War of the Worlds challenged your faith. How, they say?
Well, I guess what I meant was, when you're doing a role which is completely conflicting to what you actually believe as an individual. I mean, in that I've lost my faith and I'm freaking out and I think we're all doomed and we're all going to hell. I don't believe that. Right. So you've got to portray that in the role whilst being dressed as a parson, vicar.
Might it ever happen?
I certainly hope not. And
no, I was thinking more of you becoming a parson or a minister or a vicar one day.
Do you know? No, I don't have the gift of teaching, and I don't think that is my my calling at all.
Yeah.
So I doubt it.
I understand you said you came to faith while participating in another musical. Was that right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
At university, I was doing the production of Jesus Christ Superstar by Andrew Lloyd Webber. And I was getting familiar with the role and studying it in audiovisual room in the Barber Institute of Performing Arts. And I was on my own, and I remember it so well. I watched the film, and at the end, the beautiful music of Gethsemane is playing. And I was crying my eyes out seeing Jesus on the cross. I was like, wow, this guy is amazing. Yeah. This guy, what he did for us is awesome.
And this was pre-faith, really, or pre a conversion experience?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, okay, or you were just coming up to it.
This was the climax.
Yeah,
okay. But at that moment, that's when Jesus, God, came into my life, and my life changed forever.
I mean, did it change immediately? Did you say to your friends around you, your fellow students, I've met with God? Or, I mean, how did you, something you wanted to keep quiet about for a bit?
No, not at all. I guess I was going to church. The best thing it was that I lived in Selly Oak. Everybody who knows Birmingham University will know Selly Oak, or Smelly Smoke, as it's known. And my neighbour was a guy called Phil, a doctor who was a Christian. He kept on saying to me on Sundays, fancy coming to church, mate, fancy coming to church. Well, I thought, I wanted to go because I liked him. He was a good friend, so I went along to try to test the water, see what it was like, and I liked it. Right. And so I had built some friends, a community of friends at that church. And so when I became a Christian, it's like, this all makes sense. And so I could share that with them. And you get that honeymoon period. Right. Do you remember that when you become a Christian?
I do, yeah.
For 2 weeks, it's like, you're on cloud nine. It's awesome. Right. And I've never been ashamed of admitting my faith. Right. And so, yeah, I never kept it quiet.
Right. Fantastic. And might we ever see a gospel, a Christian album from you, or is that not on the horizon?
I very much hope so. I've always said I'd love to record Christian songs, new and old. Right. There's songs like